What's up, founders, and welcome back to another hot take. My name is Asia Orangio, and I'm the CEO and founder of DemandMaven, where we work with Saas companies on troubleshooting their growth and defining their go-to-market strategy. I just got this question, and I love this question. I got this during a talk that I did recently about how to define your go-to-market strategy, and that question had everything to do with positioning. Now, before I jump into positioning, let me first just say, if you really want to learn everything about positioning, I highly recommend April Dunford. She is the positioning expert from someone who's done it like literally, I think, 7, 8, 9 times or whatever, like in her entire career. She really breaks down positioning extremely well. So if you want to learn everything possible, everything that April knows about positioning, I highly recommend that you go and check out her website and also check out her book. It's an incredible read. You're gonna love it. It's really fast, and pretty much anyone can read it and understand it. It's phenomenal. Okay, so enough me gushing about just April Dunford and positioning. You want to know all about, at what point does positioning get defined? When does a business, especially an early stage SaaS company, when do we define our positioning? At what part of the process do we suddenly really understand what our positioning looks like? The short answer is actually really simple. When you have paying customers, and also when you have active users. Depending on how you plan on going to market, especially if you're really early, you don't necessarily have any paying customers yet, but you know that you need to ultimately work hard to get customers. You need to get those first users of your product, of your service. But once you get that first cohort of people and you start to really see what sticks and for who, that's when you can start crafting the positioning statements and you can start thinking about how to position yourself in the market. I'm not gonna lie to you, positioning yourself before then is gonna be really challenging. So I will say, if you have paying customers, if you've got people who are actively using you, they're not churning like crazy, or if they are, you are able to understand more about why and learn from them. But the best way to know what your ultimate positioning is to get paying customers, and based off of how you positioned and messaged the product, use those indicators as what your positioning ultimately is. But I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty hard until you do have active users or at least paying customers. So if you, for example, don't plan on launching right away with a pricing plan, or maybe like you're in beta right now, but you're still kind of like confused and stuck on what positioning should be, use your most active users, interview them, and get to understand how it is that they use the product, what they competed you against, and go through the process of defining positioning using your initial cohorts of users and also customers if you have actual paying customers. Another way, however, to test positioning and to get a sense for what that is to basically just sell the product. Do things that don't scale in order to get this really critical information. Something that April Dunford recommends is actually using it in sales pitches. So if you are head of marketing and you want to get a better sense of positioning, try doing something that doesn't scale. Try pitching, dialing up some prospects, calling them, emailing them, messaging them, and testing out different positioning statements and, of course, messaging statements. Overall, however, you're probably absolutely fine if you hold positioning until you start seeing the active users or you start seeing paying customers. Then you can start using customer development and customer research processes to understand exactly how they think about your product or your service in the context of other products and the market in general. This is usually enough to start with. And it's okay if positioning is terrible in the early days. In fact, I would argue that nailing positioning in the really early days is actually really challenging, but and sometimes even impossible, to be honest. But it's okay if your early iterations of positioning are not super like spot on or not super strong, but your intention should be to improve it over time through customer research, through testing the positioning in general. You can do this through the sales process and a number of other ways that arguably are not scalable, but you will ultimately learn the thing that you need to learn. All right, guys, I hope that was really helpful. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this content, give me a thumbs up. Also consider subscribing. You know, I'm showing my face around here more often. And if you have any ideas, comments, thoughts, suggestions, strong feelings about everything that I just said, don't hesitate to leave a comment below. I will actually read them. And you know, if there's something I can do to help, I'll also reply even. Thank you again so much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.